Is the Death Stranding story too confusing or too hard to understand? That's what a lot of people have been saying. They've been saying that it's too hard to understand, it's too confusing. I get into the game and I can't understand it. How am I going to even understand the second game? Granted, it's going to be hard to understand the second game if you haven't even really understood the first yet, because they play on each other. It builds off of the first game, but still, either way, is there any credence to it? That's really what we're going to explore in this video. Is there any credence to the idea that it's too hard to understand, or that's too confusing? Now, my answer is actually no. Of course it is no. Why else would I make this video? I don't believe it's too confusing, and I'm going to tell you why. It's so easy to understand, and it only takes you actually just literally engaging with the content and paying attention. Of course, there's also resources like mine who help you understand the story. Go check out my other videos in the description down below, my lore videos, where I go on to explain stuff about the story and I continuously get it wrong. So it kind of goes against somewhat of what I'm saying right here, but at least I sometimes get it right. Either way, don't even worry about that. But anyway, it's very easy to understand, you know what I'm saying? It's very easy, very easy. And I'm gonna just give you a simple explainer, and you're not gonna fully understand it. I'm gonna give you a simple explainer of the story right now, and you're not gonna understand it unless you play the game. Truly, you might understand it like normally, conceptually maybe. You're not gonna fully understand it unless you play the game and pay attention. Once you do, you read everything in the game, you play the game, you pay attention to the storylines, you pay attention to everything that's happening, you will understand, trust me. There's also different resources like wikis and stuff that I go to also find out more information, but overall the story is very simple. The way that you understand it, first off, before I go into what it's actually about, the way you go about understanding the story, especially this story, is to not try to go into, it's what I did wrong. I tried to make everything make sense, if that makes sense. I tried to make it all make sense. Oh, and it needs to make sense, you know, based on the logical side, based on, oh, it works like this because of this, and they logically follow. Everything does logically follow in the sense that it follows how the story is meant to happen. But the science, like why different stuff happens, like why Chiralium is the way it is, why Timefall is the way it is, they have their like meanings, the stuff that makes sense. But I was trying to like make it make sense in real life. I was like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense, because they would relate stuff. They would relate stuff to the past. They would say this thing is related to the past. This thing, like they would talk about like the dinosaurs or something and the different extinctions. And they would say, oh, actually, it didn't happen like that. It happened like this. Or they'd explain how bridge babies work with their brain dead mothers and how they're connected. And I'll be like, well, that doesn't make sense. So that wouldn't happen if that really, of course, because it's not real life. It's not real life. Of course, it wouldn't happen like that, bro. But the simple idea of how everything's happening, you don't need to engage your brain to some expert levels of, I really need to no, you keep it simple. Take the story as it's spoken to you, as not even just spoken to you, it's shown to you. And also, I will say, the whole entire story, I'll even link it. I might as well link it in the description down below, top of the description. The end of the game, Amelie, the character Amelie, explains literally the whole entire story. The whole entire story. I can summarize it for you, but you can go ahead and if you don't even want to hear my summary, go ahead and watch it for yourself. But basically, she is the Stranding, like she created the Death Stranding, right? She's the Extinction entity. She was meant to do what she was meant to do. Every time, like for example, the dinosaurs, every other thing, whenever there was an extinction happening, it was because they had a connection to the beach, and the people who had the connection were like, oh, like we have a connection to this place and we can see the future, and we can we have like prophecy type of thing where we can kind of see there's an extinction happening and we're going to be part of making it happen. Remember, I'm not going to go into any scientific mumbo jumbo. This is the simple stuff. So that's it. She's an Extinction entity. She is responsible for all the stuff, everyone, whatever they're doing. She's responsible for what Sam's doing, whatever he's doing it for her. She's responsible for giving Higgs his powers. She's responsible for connecting on the beaches to her so she can help the Stranding continue and go even more so, like to just go faster and like end. And she's responsible for bringing Sam back from the dead. She's responsible for pretty much every event in the game. She's literally really the main character. That was very vague, I know. But watch the video in the description, you can fully understand it. I'm not here to tell you exactly how the story plays out and the intricacies of everything. She does explain it literally in the description down below. And it's basically what I just said, but there's more information that's like particular. But of course, at the end of the game, of course, we're already in spoilers. I mean, what do you expect? We've been in spoilers the whole time. Sorry to tell you. But at the end of the game, of course, Sam decides, okay, well, I don't want to like let the extinction happen right now. I'll let it happen later down the line. It's like he just like postpones it because it has to happen at some point. So she's just gonna stay there on the beach instead of, you know, it happening. He's like, I'm not gonna kill you and I'm gonna just I don't want the extinction to happen right now. Can you just like wait a little bit? She's like, all right, cool. I'll wait here, but it's gonna happen at some point. You cannot stop it. You cannot stop the last stranding, the extinction of your kind. He's like, all right, well, I guess I'll just wait, and then I'll try to fix it sometime in the future or something. And that's it. Like that's the gist. So if we go into the second game, we're starting with that understanding, right? Stranding, there's still BTs and everything all around each other, but the world hasn't gone kaboom, which is what Amelie would have done. She would have made it go kaboom because she's an extinction entity. She makes things die. We don't know why. We don't know why they decide to make her an extinction entity, but she is, and she has a mission to do, and it's to kill everybody. But she's gotta wait before she kills them. It's literally that simple. Trust me, it's just that simple. But if you want to see the literal intricacies of how everything works behind that, and it would take too long to explain this video. I'm sorry. Go ahead and check in the description down below. Like I said, first link. Go ahead, check it out. I'm literally telling you to hop off my channel. That's crazy, I know. But that's literally the point. The point of this video isn't to explain it. The point of this video is to say, okay, how easy is it to understand? It's as easy as click on a link, first off. But also, it's as easy as I just explained it. Even if that doesn't make sense to you, if you watch the game, you play the game, you go and you even just watch her explanation or listen to my explanation, which isn't as good as hers, sad to say, but I'm not going to do the whole thing. It's literally like, I don't even know how long her explanation is. It's a little long, I'm sorry. You might have to sit through a little bit, but you might rewatch it. If you play the game already, rewatch it. It's going to be good to rewatch. And if you haven't played the game, you might as well go play the game and then rewatch it. Or just watch it if you don't actually want to play the game, just go watch that. But the story isn't that difficult to understand. It's very simple stuff. So is it really hard to understand? No. People come to this understanding that, oh, well, it's hard to understand because I don't get how Chiralium works. I don't get how the beach works. I don't get how this works. And I say, okay, well, the beach is like a purgatory between the living and the dead. It's just literally purgatory. And I'm like, okay, well, what's Chiralium? Well, the beach is connected to the world in a certain part. The beach is connected to the world on wherever it is. That's what BTs are. And Chiralium is a result of stuff coming from the beach. And then there's Timefall, right? And Timefall comes out from the beach, and it's all just comes from the beach. If you want to simplify it, literally, it's just these things: Chiralium, BTs, tar, Timefall. They all come from the beach. It's just things that come from beach. They are things that come from beach, and they interact with world because we're getting close to the last stranding. That's it. I could explain that to you all day if you ask me those questions, and that's cool. That's what I like to do. I want to explain those things to you if you ask for it. You know what I'm saying? But if you really want to figure out, how about this? How do you think I figured out this? How do you think? I went into the game and I literally just to pay attention to what happened. I paid attention to what happened in the story. I read the extra notes, the interviews. I read extra stuff that they were talking about. That's how I came to understand it. That's it. You can do the same thing. So yes, is the game a little confusing in the way that it goes about it? Yes. But does it verbatim tell you exactly things as they happen? Yes. And I feel like people just aren't doing that because they're not listening or whatever it is. But the game tells you what the story is. And I mean tells you. Genuinely, it tells you. Granted, you can hear the story and be like, I don't get it. But it tells you. Like I said, listen to what Amelie says at the end. She literally explains the whole story to you. That's all you need to know. Literally. It's as simple as Amelie is an extinction entity. She has to destroy things, and Sam doesn't want his people to die. So he says, I don't want my people to die. How about you postpone the stranding that would kill everybody? This little, like almost just Armageddon extinction event where everything dies. Maybe you just can postpone that for now because you love me. And she said, okay, but it's gonna happen at some point. That's it. You can't tell me that's not hard to understand. Come on, bro. Like, come on, bro. That's not hard to understand. I don't think it's hard to understand. Go ahead, check out my videos on the lore. You'll understand it a little better. Or if anything, and that would just help you get everything understood in a simple way, as an extra. But the best way is to literally just go play the game. Just play the game. Listen to the story, interact with it. It's not that hard to understand. There's some things we don't know, right? Like, who is really Lou? Who is Lou? What is she? What does she do? There's characters in the second game we don't know about. Who is Tomorrow? What is her purpose? What really is Tar? We know where it comes from, but what's the real secretive of Tar? And there's also the idea that maybe everything that we knew from the first game is actually wrong. That is true. That happens. Well, it's not true, but it happens in games too. Oh, well, the thing that happened in the first game, because of this new information that we have, now what happened in the first game is wrong. Or rather, it was a lie, or it was it was a dream. I'm not saying that's how it's going with the story. That's always an idea. It always can happen where it makes something else obsolete. But so far, what we understand of the story is how it is currently, and you can just understand the story how it is right now. And if things happen as they could go on, then they go on as they go on, and it is what it is. I think for a lot of people, though, I understand it though. It's the way that it's talked about. It's the way that things are said in the game. It's the way that they explain things. It's the cadence. Like, you spend a lot of time delivering, and then you get a little bit of story here and there. A lot of time delivering, and then a little bit of story. It's kind of like you don't don't get to see it. You forget what happened a couple hours ago. You know, that type of thing. I understand it. It gets a little difficult. A lot of characters don't elaborate enough, or they elaborate too much and you don't go back to it. They had like a whole speech where they said something that was very good exposition done, but you forgot about it because it's been too long, or like I said, you went back to it. Or sorry, you didn't go back to it because you didn't understand something, you weren't paying attention. But then, for example, Dead Man explains a bunch of stuff to you many times in the game. Die Hardman explains things verbatim to you. He explains the nature of Bridget and Amelie, how she's an extinction entity. He explained this verbatim at the end of the game. But some of us just don't even know what's happening still because we didn't listen. So I'm not calling you stupid if you're one of these people. I'm not calling you dumb. I'm not calling you any of these different things. All I'm saying is, very simply and humbly, if you want to understand the story, stop just saying it's confusing and not trying to understand. Just go play the game, understand it, watch it. And honestly, if you do have any questions, you might as well ask me, because I've been researching it too. I've been researching the game, understanding how it works. I don't even have a perfect understanding. There's the possibility that what I said in this video, certain things in it might be a little off, or a little wrong, or a lot wrong. Or there's a possibility that in the second game, whatever I just said here, like I said, is obsolete. But it is what it is. You understand the game how it is right now. You play the game, you pay attention, you will understand. Same with stuff like Cliff Unger. Like, well, but is that really his baby? People still think, people still think that his baby is Luke. Even though that was literally verbatim and shown or said, it was verbatim said that it wasn't, and it was shown within the gameplay in the cutscenes that the BB is not Luke, that was actually Sam. That was easy to understand. It was a whole cutscene for it. But people were still saying, well, but I thought the baby was, but I thought it was Lou. I thought he was looking for that baby. Yeah, that was the point of the beginning of the game, was to show, oh, maybe he's looking for, even Sam was saying like, oh, I think he really wants to look for Lou. He wants Lou. This is his baby. He's coming back for it. That was the point. They're obscuring information. And then they showed it like any good show does. They show the real reality of it later on. That's it. The story is not that hard to understand. It can be confusing, don't get me wrong. But when you simplify it, especially in the way I did, simplify it in your mind, okay, this, and this, then it makes sense. Again, it's still going to be a little confusing in certain aspects, but when you cut away the need to know the intricacies of how all of the elements work together, then you're doing what I do. And then you say, okay, well, the beach, all these different things that come from the beach, they all just come from the beach. You're not trying to go, well, it works in this way, and then there's a rainbow, and then it's inverted for some reason, it doesn't have like a color in it. Oh, and then, you can actually use it to like build crops, the Timefall. Oh, but like it touches people and then it like ages them and stuff. I don't know why that happens. You don't need to. Like, granted, you can go search for it. There are answers for those specific, intricate questions, like why does it age things, or why does it do all this different stuff? Well, what happens on the beach? Why does time seem to not pass? Right? If you want to go, explore these intricate stuff, I got videos on them. But also, they're not that hard to understand. But also, just go find. There's literally like notes, interviews in the game. There's messages, there's stuff that literally explain these things verbatim. Like, let's just explain what they are. So you can go search for those. But overall, if you want to understand the general point of the story, you can literally just summarize it like, okay, so all those things just come from the beach, and the beach is literally purgatory. So don't go complaining that, oh, I don't know what the story is about. It's so confusing. If you don't even care to go look for it, if you don't even care to pay attention. Anyway, sorry. Hey, help me do this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe for more like it. I have lore videos that talk about lore in the video game in the description down below. You can go and check them out. I read the interviews and I explained what they meant. And if you liked the video, leave it a like. That would be absolutely amazing. If you disliked it, leave me a dislike. It makes sense, don't it? You know what I mean? Whether you liked it, disliked it, leave a comment down below. Comment down below what you think. And I hope you enjoyed. Catch you, hopefully, in the next one. Peace.